Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Announcing the arrival of Yang Berusaha, Professor Dr. Zamri Radzi, Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Student Affairs, University Malaya, accompanied by the Honourable Professor Dr. Ina Ismiarti Shariffuddin, Professor of Pediatric Anesthesiology, Faculty of Medicine, University Malaya. Guests, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Indah sungguh sinar mentari menyinari bumi di waktu petang. Hari Hari ini kita berkumpul meraihkan bakti seorang ilmuwan yang menjulang kecemerlangan. Selamat datang ke Syarahan Perdana Profesor Dr. Ina Ismiarti Shariffuddin pada hari yang berbahagia ini. Izinkan saya untuk bertutur dalam bahasa Inggeris untuk sama-sama meraihkan para hadirin dari luar negara. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend our warmest welcome to Yang Berusaha Profesor Dr. Zamri Radzi, Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Student Affairs, Universiti Malaya, Yang Berusaha Profesor Dr. Ina Ismiarti Shariffuddin, Professor of Pediatric Anesthesiology, Faculty of Medicine, Universiti Malaya, Yang Berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Yang Faridah Abdul Aziz, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Universiti Malaya, members of the management, Faculty of Medicine and Universiti Malaya Medical Centre, distinguished guests, Professor Emeritus, professors, doctors, ladies and gentlemen who are joining us both here in the auditorium and virtually today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Malaysia Madani. My name is Mayura and I am your Master of Ceremony today. To seek blessings for today's event, I would like to first invite Yang Berusaha, Dr. Jamaluddin Sahlan, to lead us in the recitation of the dua.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Hamdan yuwafi ni'amahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhika wa azimi sultanik. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammad. Salatan tunjina biha min jami'il ahwali wal afat. Wa taqdi lana biha jami'il hajat. Wa tutahhiruna biha min jami'is sayyiat. Wa tarfa'una biha indaka a'lad darajat. وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Ya Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful, we gather here today with hearts full of gratitude, thanking you for the blessings of life, health, and the opportunity to seek and share knowledge. We ask for your divine presence and blessings upon this auspicious occasion. Ya Alim, the all-knowing, we pray that you bless this event with success, smooth proceedings, and fruitful outcomes. Grant our esteemed speaker clarity of mind, eloquence of speech, and the wisdom to impart knowledge that inspires, uplift, and benefit our community and society at large. Ya Rahman, bless our university, our faculty, and everyone present here today. Open our hearts and minds to receive this knowledge, and grant us the wisdom to apply it for the betterment of humanity. Let this gathering be a source of unity, intellectual growth, and spiritual elevation for all of us. We seek your protection from knowledge that is not beneficial, and we ask that you guide our footsteps to excellence in both this world and the hereafter. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una wa zidna 'ilma. Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqan warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arina al-batila batilan warzuqna ijtinabah. Rabbana taqabbal minna ta'atana wa du'a'ana إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Dr. Jamal, for the beautiful and heartfelt dua. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today's occasion is indeed a meaningful one for many of us. I stand before you not only as your Master of Ceremony, but also as someone who has had the privilege of knowing our speaker through many chapters of my own professional journey, as my teacher, my former head of department, my mentor, now my research collaborator, and someone whose guidance and influence have helped shape generations of anesthesiologists across Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Dr. Ina Ismiarti Shariffuddin. inaugural lecture is one of University Malaya's most cherished academic traditions. More than just a formality, it is a celebration of a lifetime devoted to scholarship, service, education, and leadership. It is an opportunity for us to reflect on an academic journey while gaining insights into the values, experiences, aspirations, and wisdom that have defined the path. This afternoon, we have the privilege of listening to the inaugural lecture of Professor Dr. Ina Ismiarti entitled Trust at the Heart of Care, a journey through anesthesiology, medical education, and leadership. For those of us who have had the privilege of learning from Prof. Ina, the word trust resonates deeply. It lies at the very heart of every anesthesiologist's relationship with our patients, and perhaps even more so in pediatric anesthesia, where families entrust us with the care of their little ones. It is a theme that has been woven through Prof. Ina's distinguished career as a pediatric anesthesiologist, an academic, and a leader, and is reflected in her many contributions to the anesthetic fraternity at both the national and regional levels. There is certainly much more that could be said about Prof. Ina's remarkable journey. I suspect I could spend the rest of the afternoon talking about her contributions, but then we will never get to the lecture we've all come here to hear. Without further ado, it is now my pleasure to invite Yang Berusaha Professor Dr. Zamri Radzi, Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Student Affairs, University Malaya, to chair the lecture and subsequently introduce the Honourable Professor Dr. Ina Ismiarti Shariffuddin.
Terima kasih pengerusi majlis. Profesor Dr. Ina Ismiarti Shariffuddin. Yang Berusaha, Profesor Dr. Yang Farida Abdul Aziz, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, University Malaya, and all the members of the congregations today. It is a very special evening, afternoon, that we gather here to continue the legacy of the inaugural lecture. When it comes to Faculty of Medicine, it is the true legacy of the one introduced or championed by Professor Diraja Unku Aziz. And we ask why. Why? Because at this congregation, we have mentors, mentees, senior members of the university and the faculty whom we have not met perhaps for some time, gathered here to celebrate the life story, the life of our celebrated professor here. It is very special because it is not only the dean who are here, but also accompanied by all the deputy deans, Professor Yazid here, Prof. Anand, Prof. Tengku, Prof. Noran, together with our former director of the UMMC, Prof. Nazira, together with Prof. Norazin, Deputy Director, Head of Department, Prof. Rafidah, senior members, emeritus professors, and everyone, family of Prof. Ina, friends, and all special distinguished guests. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. It makes it even more special and more honored for me to be here to celebrate someone whom I have highest regards and also a friend. Professor Dr. Ina Ismiarti Shariffuddin, once again, shall we give a big round of applause. A city girl who went to Asunta for her primary school, went on to the coldest part of Scotland, Dundee, to continue her MBBS, to continue her medical degree. Perhaps at the time when she was at Dundee, it was the first interface of her and the medical education, as Dundee is very well known for the medical educationists. And she went on to continue her master's in anesthesiology at this oldest medical faculty in the country and the best in the region. Subsequently, she went on to pursue her fellowship at the very center, Kandang Kerbau. The name is suspicious, but trust us that Kandang Kerbau Hospital is one of the teaching hospitals of University Malaya when it was in Singapore. Even the King Edward VII College of Medicine, together with Tan Tock Seng Hospital, Middleton Hospital, as well as the SGH. So the Kandang Kerbau played an important role in the history of University Malaya. Therefore, she continued to bridge the history of these two faculties. She went on to China to continue her subspecialty training in liver transplant anesthesiology and so many things that she did to the country, to the region, and to the world. So this is what I've written. As an administrator, Professor Ina was the head of the anesthetic department, also the head of the pediatric anesthetic unit. Beyond medicine, she helped another faculty to prosper, which is the dental faculty, and she was the oral and maxillofacial anesthetic head. So there are so many things that she did, not only as a clinician, as an anesthetist, but also to contribute to the profession, to her profession. She became the examiner of the conjoined exam of MNS, also devised the program, the curriculum for the how do I pronounce that, Prof? NPMC and MNS. MNS, correct, the right one, MNS, and also become the chief examiner for the exam. And as organizer, she played an important role in ASEAN and Oceanic Society Regional Anesthetic and Pain Medicine Conference. As a researcher, a very active researcher, progressive researcher, prolific writer, she won so many research grants, published in highly regarded journals like JAMA Anesthetics, BMC Anesthetics, BMC Geriatrics, and many more. Apart from the technical reports, policy papers, and also various frameworks. And won so many prizes and became the chief editor of the Malaysian Journal of Anesthesiology. And like what has been mentioned just now, she was inspired, must be at some point during her interaction with someone whom we know as the father of modern medical education, Ronald Harden. Ronald once was the chief editor of Medical Teachers, and his very special book, the book on the medical teachers, is the reference for many, many parts of the world, and became the champion for the medical education and endocrinologist, and now we have an anesthetist. And Prof. Ina won Ronald Harden Award. Award named after his very professor. She led the medical education, Merdu, and under her leadership this year, the Merdu won a very special prize. It is quite difficult to pronounce the prize. In Malay, it sounds like this. The prize, special prize, Pengalaman Pengajaran Imersif Teradun. If we are going to translate into English, it can be very difficult. And congratulations, Prof, for the Anugerah Acung 2026. Prof. Ina continued the legacy of the senior members of the department, and we saw many of them here. Thank you very much for coming. She continued the legacy of the late Professor Dali Likan, Professor Gracie Ong, Professor Wang, Professor Patrick, Prof. Lucy, Prof. Mazidah, and also Prof. YK. We understand that is now online. Thank you very much for the support. Really appreciate this on behalf of University Malaya. And ladies and gentlemen, there is one more thing that we didn't tell, and Prof. Ina didn't tell, that we've met 12 years ago when we means my wife and I, saw one happy family, one happy family at this particular airport, So we were on our way to short pilgrimage, Umrah, and at the time we wonder whether that happy family, where they come from. It turned out that they're from University of Malaya. So immediately bonding straight away from that moment until today. And thank you very much, Architect Hanas Ismadi, the husband, who is also here today. And at the time, the eldest of theirs, Duratun Hana, was still young, and now is undergoing her housemanship in QE hospital in Sabah. And following the mother footstep is the third Dina Alina, who won the Young Talent Program, going to pursue medicine as well. And the second one, who didn't follow neither the mother nor the father, pursuing the accounting, going to be chartered accountant soon, ICAEW. Dear Irdina, I still remember you when you were many years ago at Mecca and Madinah, and also the youngest at the time, Umar Naufal, who is also here today. Ladies and gentlemen, there are so many contributions from our very professor here that we would like to hear more from herself rather than the chairperson. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to listen about pediatric anesthesia, advancement airway management, patient blood management, medical education, and many more. So let us together, shall we welcome Prof. Ina, Trust at the Heart of Care, a journey through anesthesia, medical education, and leadership. Thank you once again, Prof. Thank you. We have to prepare the stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I'm very nervous. Okay. Well, Alhamdulillah. Thank you Allah for this opportunity. Good afternoon, good evening, my dearest friend, Professor Dr. I can't even pronounce her name, Zamri Radzi, Prof. Yang, Prof. Noran, Prof. Yazid, Prof. Anand, Prof. Sharul, Tunku Sharizal, my HOD, and Prof. Azim, all friends, all seniors, Prof. Patrick, Prof. Mazida, Prof. Lucy Lam, Prof. Emeritus Lucy Lam, Prof. Wang, Prof. Kula, thank you so much for spending your important afternoon with me today. I could never ask for more. So today, I actually put off giving this lecture for about 5 years. Inaugural lecture is supposed to be given when you're given the title full professor, right? But I thought I've got this inferiority complex syndrome, that I don't know what to say. But then my friends were doing it ahead of me. So when Shireen said, I'm giving my lecture, I had that FOMO, fear of missing out. It's real peer pressure, right? So I then checked with Mr. Aizat, when is the next available slot? Oh my God, it's 1 year ahead, guys. Who hasn't given, please book now, all right? The waiting list is 1 year. So anyway, that's me. Although I had 1 year to prepare, but as usual, we only prepare like a couple of days or weeks before, right? So here today, I'm going to share with you a topic of my journey, Trust at the Heart of Care, a journey through anesthesia, medical education, and leadership. I'd like to also acknowledge my friends who's listening online. I know some of them from my Indo anesthesia family, Dr. Andre, and also Prof. YK, who is in Brisbane at the moment. Right, let me figure out how to do this, okay? So, before I begin with an hour of lecture, I hope you can bear with me. I'd like to ask you a simple question. When a parent or a patient hands you, or I'm asking myself, hand their sick child, what have they given me? Let's think. We only think like it's a day's work, but actually they're giving us something very big. To me, they're actually giving me this trust. A trust that I believe means a foundational belief that healthcare professionals have the competence to treat patients and the commitment to act in the patient's best interest. The relationship between trust, competence, and readiness is not very complex. It can be described in this via this graph. If you look at the y-axis is the competency, the x-axis is the trust, and the increment in competency without trust doesn't work. You can be competent, but if you're untrustworthy to treat a patient, you cannot go. We cannot let you deal with the patient, right? But if you're competent and we want to be able to trust you, then with appropriate mentoring and assessment along the way, at the end, we'll give you the license to practice. And that, my dear colleagues, is what I call trust in medicine. So, before I tell you my career journey, I'd like to bring you back to the prequel, to the beginning. That cute baby is me, believe it or not, okay? My daughter didn't believe it. She said, whose picture is this, mommy? So I said, that's me. All right, so this is my parents, Arwah Haji Shariffuddin Abdul Kahar and Arwah Hajah Yunia Murad. My papa, that's what we call him, is actually a very creative man. He's free spirit. He's an artist. He draws. He received a scholarship in 1970s to study art in Kyushu, Japan. So he spent his 1 year life there to learn art, and after that he came back to Malaysia and lead the animation group in Film Negara, Malaysia. Just opposite Sri Petaling, okay? Then you guess, why didn't I go to Sri Petaling, right? Yeah, okay. My sister went there. All right. Then my mom is actually Indonesian. I'm half Indonesian, all right? My mom was this very clever lady, but because of limited resources in her country, she couldn't continue with her study, right? Because she has young brothers, and my nene said, let your brothers go. You're a lady, you're a woman. So she didn't continue. So why I'm telling you this story, the combination of a very chilled father, who's very arty-farty, all right, and a very strict mother who hold rotan next to me, asking me to study. Oh, I think that's the part that led me to become a doctor, right? The creativity of my dad and the discipline of my mother led me to this path. So for that, I'm really grateful for them. They are the architect. And biiznillah, why I'm here today. So that cute baby is me. I was born in this hospital in 1973, premature, at 8 months. I was the second daughter, right? And I was told the professor that delivered me was Prof. Khairuddin. I've never met him because I've never studied here when I was younger, but to him, I'm very blessed. And my mom said, I was just a size of 1 liter bottle, in incubator, being nursed in the incubator for about a month. And then after that, alhamdulillah, I'm here contributing to University Malaya, probably a huge payback for my lifetime. Right, so this is my siblings. We have 4 of us. There's Ida Juliana, my eldest sister, and then that's me, the second sibling. I do have middle child syndrome on and off, okay? And then there's my third sister, Jun Haslinda, Dr. Jun Haslinda, who's not here. She's a doctor in engineering. And then I've got my brother, Sharul Imran, who is creative as my father. He was the producer of Ola Bola. All right, so that's my family. We live in a very small circle, nurtured by love by my parents. And I told you I'm half Indonesian. So this one, the scene one is my grandma from Indonesia, Medan, Nenek Nur. And the other one holding my third sibling is Nenek Zainar, my paternal side. So because I have a grandmother in Indonesia, I go to Indonesia very frequent, every yearly actually, to visit my grandma. So this is my journey. As I told you, I get my professor in 2020, but here today, please bear with me. Let me brag a bit, right? Or share a bit. How often can I do that with my friends? I'm a bit shy, so I don't brag a lot, but just bear with me for today, okay? So where it began, yes, I went to Asunta to primary school, a place I remember with great fondness. I remember my standard 1 teacher, Miss Fu, standard 2, Mrs. Naden, standard 3, Puan Kamaria, standard 4, Miss Chua, standard 5, Mrs. T. Standard 6 tak ingat sebab kena pindah sekolah. I was so upset my father had to move to Ampang and had to go to St. Mary, and I lost all my friends. So I was just distraught. So when my father said, okay, Form 1 you masuk asrama, okay? I said, okay, I don't care, I can, and not any asrama, Sekolah Menengah Agama Tinggi Hishamuddin. So it's where I learned more about religion. I actually have to learn Arabic. My grammar was pretty good, but now I've forgotten a lot of it. But it gave me this foundation, Islamic foundation for me. Wherever I go in the world, I know that Allah is there with me. And there, I met all my best friends. There's Asmawati here, Khairul Baria, and Noi, who is actually holidaying because it's her birthday today, and Nur Zaini. She said she's coming. Oh, she's back there. All right. They are my friend from 13 years old. And I think my dear teacher, Cik Rosila Said, is online. She's now in Kelantan. She's my favorite chemistry teacher. So this is a picture of me with her while I was in that school. Right. So then I went to matriculation, and I got this opportunity to do medicine in Dundee. I was gobsmacked. For a girl who just wanted to do medicine, I don't care anywhere. I choose USM because I want to run away from UM. All my life, I was in Klang Valley. I said, Mama, please allow me to go to USM. So I went to matriculation in USM. And they have this program that they send people to go, link program to go to UK. And then I've got chosen among the students to go there. So for a girl whose furthest journey on plane was to Indonesia, going abroad and to study medicine was surreal. I got to see the whole new world outside, right? I'm sharing you this picture because this is during my first year. And this is my favorite part of the year. There's 4 seasons, right? I cried when it's winter because it's so cold. I've stayed in a condition where the temperature went below -20. Cannot go anywhere, and the moment it's hot, the pipe bursts, you know. It's just so cold. But spring is always beautiful, daffodils, right? One thing in Dundee, I discovered much more than medicine. I realized you can study medicine anywhere in the world. But I met friends across the world, from Ethiopia to Iraq. Asil was my best friend from Iraq. From Scandinavia, Charles, to Ireland. They taught me friendship across culture. And Malaysian of different races, when we're there, we are far from home. We became each other's family. Everybody asked, my friend asked, hey, are you okay with your Chinese friend? I know this is a bit racist, right? But coming from my European guy, I said, no, we are fine, we are very good, we love each other. And here I've got Hisham Go, my classmate. Thank you for coming, Hisham Go. You can see him there. He's the ever naughty boy in the group. So we had fun, and I did finally graduate on time, all right? And my parents came, and they were the one who made it possible for me to be here. Right. Then I completed my housemanship in UK. I did my housemanship in Crosshouse Hospital University in Scotland. And Barrow-in-Furness, I did my surgical posting. For a year, I was there. Then my parents told me, please come back. And being a scholar from JPA, I came and I stepped into home ground Hospital Kuala Lumpur as a young doctor, straight into Department of Anesthesiology. At that time, they closed OT. Half of the OT was closed because no MO. Like deja vu, kan? Sekarang pun no MO. But my boss, the late Datuk K. Imbasigaran, actually closed the OT. And for 1 week, all doctors that register will have to do anesthesia for 1 year. So I said, okay, I think that's an opportunity for me to learn acute airway and acute resuscitation. I'm for it. What I didn't realize, 1 year became 5 years. And in 3rd year, I knew this was my calling. I started reading and I applied for Masters in Anesthesia, and I got into Masters of Anesthesia in UM. So this is Dr. Tai Ling, my supervisor when I was doing my Masters out campus. There, also, I spent my time with these strong women. One of them is here, Dr. Hamida. Thank you for coming, Dr. Hamida. They are pediatric anesthetists. You know, this is Dr. Fadila, Dr. Sushila, Dr. Hamida, Dr. Tavam. And having Datuk Zack as a surgeon, just good combination, you know. They show me how teamwork is there for being a good doctor. And I really thoroughly enjoy pediatric anesthesia and find it was my calling. Because I felt whenever a child comes into OT, we're basically relieving them from the symptoms that can make them live longer. It's basically for them to breathe, for them to eat, for them to pee, you know, and you see the joy when things work well. And being a student master's outside when you're married, it's tough because I've got children, and having friends that can take the burden, can cover your call when your child is sick, is a blessing. So with that, I'd like to acknowledge my friends. There's many of them. One of them is Rohayu and Hasma, because we are the mommy group in HKL, right? I completed my Masters of Anesthesiology in 2007 and joined University Malaya the following years as a lecturer. This is the start of a career that's shaped by my mentors who trusted me. Again, I just like to emphasize, life was tough in UM as a trainee until now, right? So I really have friends, you know, my friends, Fatma, who's here today, Hana, Nurjahan, Asmiza, who was there, you know, covering each other and being the support group of the mummies group. So this is the mentors who shaped my anesthesia experience when I joined as a lecturer. Together, they showed me that building a subspecialty requires more than expertise. It requires commitment, patience, and a clear sense of purpose. I'd like to thank and acknowledge Professor Y.K. Chan for her mentorship in internationalization, and academic visibility. And Prof. Mazida Mansoor, thank you for coming, Prof. She's one of the best boss to work with. She teach me how to navigate academic responsibilities. She's very cool. No problem is a problem. And of course, I had Prof. Lucy Chan, who was a mentor in pediatric anesthesia. She's also a very tough lady. The baby can go Brady, but she's still so cool. Then, of course, I have Prof. Wang, who introduced me. She was my supervisor when I was doing my master's. She introduced me to research and international collaboration. Then I wanted to pursue pediatric anesthesia. I told you, right? I know from the start I wanted to do anesthesia, but I have a family that I couldn't leave. And I found a place called Kandang Kerbau Hospital because it's near. At that point, everybody can fly is available. So AirAsia was there. I was coming home every weekend, spending my money on the flight. And Dr. Josephine, this lady, and Prof. Agnes was my mentor. They were really kind. They allowed me to come back on Sunday not to do pre-med so that I can go home. Because they said, you're very senior, Ina. You don't have to do all this registrar work. You just come back and observe what we do and help from Monday to Friday. So, but they were very kind. And from them, I learned efficiency of a Singaporean. You cannot learn that anywhere, I felt. The efficiency just top-notch, right? And again, friends are important. I have Prof. Ekta Rai here. She's now professor in CMC India. And Dr. Teddy Fabula, who at the end joined KK as one of the senior consultants. They were my support system when I was there. So now we're going to the actual journey. Okay, still? Okay, right. I will start today's journey with my trip about care. And along this trip, trust is always at the heart of every step. This is my control center. This one is a control center on normal day when cases are pretty simple. And this is the control center when cases are quite difficult, right? Especially like liver transplant. You can see all the monitors. I want to ask, who do you call where there's a difficult airway? Thank you, Peng Sun. It's anesthesiologist, right? I remember Prof. Peppa asked me this question before. I saw Prof. Peppa just now. Thank you, Prof. Peppa, for coming. So, who do you ask? Who do you call? So, difficult airway is a clinical situation in which a conventionally trained anesthesiologist experiences difficulty with face mask ventilation of the upper airway, difficulty with tracheal intubation, or both. So, this was the paper that started all. I had to do a thesis, and Prof. Wang asked me, let's look into airway, you know. And I thought, yeah, I've seen that airway. As a houseman in UK, this airway, we were not asked to intubate, but we were asked to put a supraglottic to give 100% oxygen. So she said, let's look at this new airway, whether it helps, how it helps our Asian population. So we did the randomized crossover comparison of the Ambo Aura 1's laryngeal mask with the LMA classic laryngeal mask airway in paralyzed anesthetized patient in Malaysian population. And this paper, as a thesis, I don't know, it must be a beginner's luck, right? I got into anesthesia, which is a Q1 paper, journal. So I thought, wow, that easy, yeah. Okay lah, kumpul data susah. Writing, I got really good help, but we wrote together. But wow, I got into Q1. And I actually add knowledge, some information to the body of knowledge for the world. That gave me a kick, you know. So I thought when Prof. Y.K. Chan approached me, would you want to come to University Malaya as a lecturer? I said, yes. After that, almost 2 decades, I look at different type of airway. There's a lot of research on airway because it's always anesthetist forte, right? So you need to know which one is good, which one is bad. And I'm very happy being among the first person to be able to play with a new toy and then give my comment, about it. And along the way, get paper on it and present it to the world. So don't you find that really intriguing, doing what you like, asking questions, and then get to add information to the body of knowledge? So, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I stayed. Then working into airways, I find that there's a lot of things that we need to look at, not just supraglottic, but they always call, as a lecturer, I was always called to manage difficult airways. So I then decided with my friends, my SIG in difficult airway team in my department to say, look, we've got various students that come every 6 months, and they come with different background of airway management. So when they are stuck in OT, they might not know the equipment that we use in our hospital. So with that, we started our first advanced airway management workshop in 2019, where we only use the equipment that we have in our hospital. So whenever there's a difficult airway in the ward or in OT, they're all well trained. They don't bring something that they have used in their own hospital, but they know what's available in our hospital. And come to that, this is our 10th airway management workshop, and it's going strong. And on top of that, I am also involved with the SIG Difficult Airway Malaysia, led by Prof. Muhammad Maya from UKM. And in this group, we write policies for airway in MSA. We teach workshop all over Malaysia under the banner of Malaysian Society of Anesthesiologists. And when COVID hit us, we were among the first to come up with how to manage new norm of the airway management. And not enough in department or in anesthesia fraternity, I also got to work with, I was also privileged to work with the emergency physicians because they also handle airway in acute situation. So with that, I was invited by Dr. Zul, who's here today, and Dr. Joanne Heng, who's in China, to be among the founding faculty for CASTER. CASTER is Clinical Airway Skill Training in the Emergency Room. So we train their emergency physicians on difficult airway management with different devices. I also then shared the standard of airway care across the ASEAN and ASEAN Australian region. So there's a lot of opportunity that I got from moving across and sharing my knowledge in airway with all my friends and families in anesthesia. Then I move on to what I love most, the pediatric airway. Pediatric airway is where the margin of error is small, very narrow, and we look into child's airway. You know, they have difficult airway, they have larger tongue, smaller mouth, higher larynx, anterior vocal cord. And with Prof. Lucy, I was invited to write in this book, edited by Professor Zahid from Iran. I want to share with you one story. You know, people thought, oh, you only do it in your work in University Malaya. But I wanted to share with you one story of a child with Pierre Robin sequence and cleft palate. This child actually was planned to have an operation somewhere else in another hospital, but they failed to intubate him. As a consequences, he was a bit hypoxic, but they managed to put in a tube finally, but it was edematous, and they cancelled the operation, sent him to ICU, PITS ICU. So then they heard about anesthetists in UM. Normally they only refer here when there's a surgeon, right? But this one, they said, I want that anesthetist. So I was like, oh, okay. That put a little bit of pressure. So we had a team, my team there, PITS team, Iftita, Mark, Chow, Kevin. We were a bit worried once it's difficult, it might be difficult, but we prepared. And Alhamdulillah, when this child came with Prof. Siti Mazlipa, we managed to anesthetize him and allow him to go through surgery and proceed without any problem. He was discharged soon, and he didn't need any ICU care. So, yeah, that's when a family put a trust in you. My passion in airway also brought me to be invited as a visiting professor. One, I was invited as a visiting professor in Universitas Gadjah Mada. So I just want to share you, maybe to wake you up a bit from this boring story. It's quite funny, so I just want to share. But after all day work, they come up with this. Oops, sorry. Let me just go back. Okay.
3.
Visiting Profesor 2025.
I don't know. I'm not used to be cheered in Malaysia, right? How often do you get cheered that way, right? So to have fellows who cheered me, it was quite surreal. Sorry. Then,
Visiting Profesor
sorry,
2025.
didn't mean to do that twice. Then, with the same passion, I was invited once again to another university, Universitas Brawijaya, as a visiting professor. And here, they wanted me to lead them in the cleft palate program. I was invited by the head of department, from Dr. Rudy. And they also want me to guide them to write a scholarly writing for WOS. And they give me about 6 months to look at it. It was a lot of teaching. And I think the manuscript is on track for publication, and I hope it should be published in the next month or so. So, all that work in anesthesia wasn't me alone. It's never a work of one person. I started in 2014 with me and Prof. Lucy. And in 2026, there's 7 of us, right? There is Prof. Chow Soo Hui, and there is Dr. Mok Chuan Sing, Dr. Iftita, the consultants. There's 3 consultants, and I have 3 fellows, Dr. Vinod, Dr. Prabhu, and Dr. Wong Yuziang. So now they are the backbones of PITS anesthesia in UMMC. Thank you to them. You never understand. Having more of me means I can do other things in life that I like. So, you know, how often you want to tunduk and put Branula in your life, right? So but now they have ultrasound, so they are a bit more advanced than me. But having many of them give me the opportunity to do other things in life that drive me to stay here in UM. And for that, I thank you. I thank them for allowing me to do so. And doing pediatric anesthesia doesn't mean anything if I don't have a patient to anesthetize. So for this, these are my pediatric family. The first one is my general surgical group, led by currently Dr. Tan, but previously Prof. Shireen, Prof. Anand, they were the other side of the blood-brain barrier, right? But we are good friends. So this teamwork depends closely on trust. I trust them when they say they're going to do this, and I know they're going to give their best, and they trust me to look after their patient where they're doing their very best operating. And we respect each other. Gaduh ada, but still respect. Then I have my ENT colleague, previously Dr. JNT, but now we're working very closely with Associate Professor Jaya Sakti and team, and she does a lot of challenging, difficult airways, which just give us bumps every time we have to do it, all right? But still very, very intriguing. And of course, I have Associate Prof. Siti Mazlipa, Prof. Firdaus, Prof. Zainal with their pediatric oral maxillofacial. And there are actually many other teams, but with interest of time, I'm just choosing a few. But for most importantly, I think all the complex work cannot be done if we don't have the PITS ICU team, which is now led by Chua Su Ling. So Chua is away. She sends her regards, and thank you so much for your team for allowing us to do all this extravagant operation. I want to share you there's a lot of case I did in my 20 years being an anesthetist, but I'm just going to bring you a few. Care that changes life, which attracts media, all right? So this was a story of Arman. We were interviewed, and this was a documentary played in Astro Oasis under Melakar Impian. So Arman is a 10-year-old orang asli boy who was identified by the cleft team and brought to University Malaya with Klepam support. Prof Siti called me at home and she said, look, this boy really nak lari je. This is one opportunity, we're going to grab him and bring him to UM, and you're just going to do a quick, you review him and do anything so that we can operate on him. So I said, okay, but I'm so glad he has no other abnormality, no other congenital abnormality apart from quite bad cleft palate and cleft lip. His heart was all normal. So we then took him into surgery. He was remarkably brave. This boy was actually left by his mom, and his father died when he was younger. He was looked after by a grandma. So his grandma doesn't know what to do. So he was a very shy boy. You can imagine he will be unable to speak, right, with this sort of abnormalities. I just want to share with you, after the operation, he became this very handsome man. Let's see whether I can... And...
Okay, 1, 2, 3, okay, cakap. Kuat sikit, kuat sikit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, thank you.
So he can actually speak. Don't you think that's really, really worth doing, right? Yeah. So that's Arman.
Okay, 1.
Next, I can't give this lecture without telling you about this care, right? Our transplant team. Satu Hati Seribu Harapan. The pediatric liver transplant program began in 2019, founded by the late Associate Professor Yung. And with Professor Tunku Kamaruzaman's strong support as the director of UMMC, the founding team trained at Ranji Hospital for 2 weeks to a month. I have to admit, I was really hesitant to join initially because, you know, it's really not just the hard work, it's really sad. You know, sometimes I cannot take, you know, when I told you I did medicine, I did pediatric because I want to see them growing, coming out of Operation Well. But you know, liver transplant, not always. So when Puisan asked me, Prof. Puisan now, she's migrated to Australia. I hope she's listening online. She said, Ina, you're the only pediatric anesthetist with us, a senior one. You must join us. Then I said, okay, I will. Because I know that's my obligation to University Malaya, but top of my brain, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be a long, long road. But I think the modus operandi done by the university, by Prof. Tengku Marul was very good. He sent all of us packing to Ranji Hospital, stayed in one hotel together, you know, with Alizan, with all of them, RT, and we went to Shanghai Disneyland. We really built our camaraderie there, you know, not just work, but built our camaraderie. So when we came back, they are like our adopted brothers lah. Alizan is my big brother now. He was here, but he went off to see his father. Semoga dipermudahkan, Alizan. So, yeah, we built not only skill, but that trip and that camaraderie, we built trust as colleagues. And with that, we have done 32 pediatric liver transplant to date. Halfway, I was a bit depressed when we started losing patients. And then we wanted to look at what was the reason we're losing, what went wrong. So that drove me with my friends, my trainees and colleagues, PITS colleagues, to look into our registry. And we then published this paper, Lesson Learned, Initiating a Pediatric Liver Donor Transplant Program in a resource challenge environment. So it was something that I felt nice that I could learn from them and I could share my knowledge with the world. And all our hard work together, led by Yung, and after that, Koping Soon, won us the Anugerah Khas Universiti Malaya, Pasukan Pemindahan Hati. That was really, really, we didn't expect, but was really nice to have. So trust is built by teams through courage, honesty, humility, and the willingness to keep learning. These are the babies that we saved, and some have gone to heaven, and I hope the rest will live happily ever after. And I have to acknowledge this man, the late Associate Prof. B.K. Yung, because I believe he pushed us out of our comfort zone. He literally pushed me out of my comfort zone, and he truly believed that we can do this. So I hope, rest in peace, Yung. Thank you for your guts. So here is a journey that I wanted to share, a clinical care I wanted to share because I want to take this opportunity because there's a surgeon also here, not just anesthetist. I want to talk about perioperative patient blood management. This was a campaign launched by WFSA, World Federation of Society of Anesthesiologists, about a year ago, in 2024. Why is it important? Do you know that there's 300 million major surgical procedures undertaken globally per year? And 30% of that major surgical procedures, 30% of the population is anemic. And out of that 100 million, 4 million experience post-operative mortality purely due to anemia. Isn't that something we can reverse with proper planning? So right now, somewhere in Malaysia or worldwide, a patient is receiving blood they don't need. And our center doesn't follow through, actually. We had the same data. When we look at this data, which was collected by my colleague, Dr. Kevin and Prof. Chow and me, we actually have the same. About 30% of our University Malaya Medical Center population are anemic. And when they are anemic, they get blood transfusion. And if they get blood transfusion, you can imagine they would also fall to have complication following blood transfusion. So, for the last decade, actually, from 2019, me, Prof. Nick, when he was here, Prof. April, Prof. Gan, Dr. Rama, Dr. Christina, Kevin, Prof. Tengek, you were there? We were in the 2019 when we were there to introduce PBM in UMMC. We wanted to push, it is a paradigm shift. Not all blood transfusion is needed. We need to optimize our patient. So with that, we then developed this preoperative anemia and iron screening in our perioperative anesthetic clinic. It started as a pilot research program, and now it's working very well, making it the first in Malaysia to introduce this framework. Thank you. Then, when we were dealing with liver transplant patient, I noticed it's very difficult to look into their coagulation because chronic liver transplant patient, they are procoagulant, but their blood, their coagulation are all wrong. So, are all not correct, you know. So, I have question, and I don't know what blood product to give when they are bleeding. So when I told you that we look at the data, why our patients were dying, among the things that I found is because they received too much blood transfusion. So with that, I said to my team, I really need to have point of care equipment so that I can check the blood coagulation profile of that patient, and I don't just give blindly whichever blood product that I want. So with that, I asked for Rotem Sigma, but unfortunately, during COVID and everything, the funding was poor. But with my team group, Peng Soon and BK Yung, late BK Yung, we went and see One Hope Charity and we pitched for this money. And yes, they gave us Rotem. And it's still being in use. It's still the one and only Rotem in our center until now. And it has saved many blood products used in cardiac, postpartum hemorrhage, and in liver transplant, of course. So this was the first to be used in Malaysia as well. And now our center is the epitome of using it. Me and my friend, my colleague, Fitri, has been asked to teach the KKM team on how to use this. So next, what do I do for PBM? You know, I always try to leverage my power. Dia bukan gila kuasa, but when you have a power, you should use it in a proper way, right? So as I was heading the UMMP program, terima daripada Prof. Jamuna, I saw there's a place that I can go in, apart from sustainability, which I'm going to say later, is blood transfusion. So I've discussed with Dr. Christina, who's the head of blood transfusion. We have actually incorporated more PBM content in our UMMP so that we can teach them from young age about PBM, which was never taught before. So my work in PBM have brought me from UMMC to ASEAN and beyond. I've been asked to share my experiences in the World platform through a webinar in what are we doing in countries and region by WFSA. I have a YouTube video also with Yazid. We fought for preventing anemia, iron deficiency in adult for me and in children by Yazid. I write in our bulletin. And this, I have to put this picture because Prof. Ariel Shander is the father of PBM worldwide. And he always say to me, somebody has to champion this. And I think in Malaysia, it should be you. So by optimizing patients before surgery and using blood more wisely, we improve outcomes, conserve precious resources, and save more life. As PBM teaches us, the best transfusion is often the one never given. Next, I'd like to bring you to see my journey through education. So in daily life, in OT, things go wrong. Most of the time, unplanned. None of us want things to go wrong, right? So this is what we call critical incidents. And I particularly look into a critical incident in anesthesia. It is an expected event occurring during perioperative care that has the potential to compromise patient safety, whether or not it does any actual harm. So we began auditing. That was in 2014 when I came back from Singapore, when they have lots of all this audit, and I said, I'm going to bring this back to Malaysia. But to build that culture of reporting in Malaysia is so difficult. I think it took me more than 2013, more than about nearly 10 years, probably 7, 8 years to finally get this culture ingrained to our staff. That's because we have red cap then. Red cap helped a lot. So Prof. Chow, who's good with all this, she put them into red cap. When I was doing it on paper, nobody wants to fill in. She put it on red cap. So my staff, my medical officer can just put it online. We then begin looking at it. And we realized reporting alone was not enough. So what? So what if something happened? What does it do? So we realized this is an opportunity for me, for us to teach our trainees, to discuss how we can prevent these critical incidents from happening. And I use Cobb's theory of experiential learning to do that. So we have concrete experience when they have some problem, when they have having the actual experience, and they reflect, and then they learn from the experience, and then they go back into OT, I hope that they won't repeat the same mistake, right? That brings me to LOOP. This loop was coined by one of my dear friend, Vanessa, when you need some Gen Z or sometimes to come up with an acronym, right? So she said, hey, this loop looks good. And loop basically is an immersive blended learning using experiential learning theory to deepen how trainees learn. L is for look, where you reflect and analyze critical incident to identify clinical pitfalls. Observe is when we identify gaps in knowledge, judgment, or skill. And orient is when we look at the gap and we do flip teaching. I ask the student to look at the gap, look at the current literature, tell me how can you improve this further, and the homework is on them, and they share with this whole group. And then we prepare them for crisis management. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but if it happens, they know how to manage it. So we actually really put it together in 2023, and by then, the loop framework was good. And you can see the critical incident has fallen from initially, if we to properly look, I think we started at about early 2020-23 when it's about 18, but I think almost everyone went through this teaching, and it started at a percentage of 11%, and then throughout that year, we managed to bring critical incident down to 2 to 3%, almost equivalent the data from European Society, the Apricot study. So what is blended learning? Pengajaran imersif teradun yang Prof. Zamri said just now. It's actually, because when you're in OT, it's actually you teach them online. You get the experience, then you bring them online and you discuss. So, when you're in OT, we cannot discuss about this case because there's a live on table, but we want them to recap. So what we did after on, when we are a bit more relaxed, on a Friday afternoon, we have this class online, and the person will present, and that's what we call blended immersive learning. For that, I received the Anugerah Pengalaman Pengajaran Immersif Teradun Anugerah Cemerlang Universiti Malaya. It was a simple concept, but I think it was impactful. Then, I also believe, as educator, we shouldn't be bogged by just these walls in the lecture hall, and also walls of the operating theatre. At this point, do you know that out of hospital cardiac arrest, survival in Malaysia is really low? It's only 0.5%. And it's not because we don't want to help. Too often, it's because we freeze. We do not know how to resuscitate, because we've never taught how. So, recognizing this gap, we launched, I was a HOD of anesthesia department during that time. We launched Start the Heart alongside UMMC's World Anesthesia Day in Taman Datuk Harun. We brought many school children in this big hall. We brought BLS training into schools and community halls. Following this, the teacher contacted me after COVID, contacted me and Dr. Mayura actually, to say that they've learned so much from that encounter. Can we come to their schools and teach them? Because they told us the syllabus is actually there in Form 4, but they do not have they don't know how to do it. And they remember in 2019 they had this opportunity, and the students love it. So there we went with Mayura, and then we need bigger team. We have anesthesia team. We brought in team from ED because they are the frontliners of acute care as well. Dr. Hafiz, Dr. Afiq, and Dr. Aizuddin. And we then saw that immediate bystander CPR can make changes, difference, but the training proved hard to scale. Why? because mannequins were expensive. In that particular school, they have one mannequin, but it's lock and key. So when they belajar, when they learn, it's just theory, no practice. And then instructor-led session was resource heavy. They can't afford it. And skills faded without repeated practice. So our team came up with a solution. We simplified a basic life support training module to be used for school, secondary children. And we then have the CPR training pillow, which is just a simple concept. It's less than 150 ringgit, this whole thing, where, if you notice, there's an anatomy on top of it. It's like a surface anatomy. So when I say, look at this nipple, there's a jantung di bawahnya, they can imagine where to put their hand. They no longer, when I came, they put their hand at the neck, you know, despite having a standard Form 4 a curriculum on it. So they understand that it has to be put on the heart. And because children nowadays love to play games, we then create an e-gamified learning module. It's like a quiz that we ask them to go through, answer. And we use My Rescue, the platform provided by Dr. Hafiz and team, to put in this gamification. So, with that, we found there was 50% improvement in theoretical knowledge among the 5 schools that we went to. Among them was Sri Aman, can't remember, Bukit Bintang, LaSalle, all schools in PJ. And there was 150% improvement in practical CPR skills in 3 months and 6 months. It's not just one off. So for this, that's when we won the IMU Ronald Harden Award for Innovation in Medical Innovation. And my team also won the Rogaya Jaafar Award in 2024, Innovation in Health Profession Education. And we secured copyright for our design of our bantal, our pillow, and the basic life support training module. But so then, alhamdulillah, the team won. Only me was up there, but this is for the team. The team won Anugerah Project Community Berimpak Tinggi for empowering youth as lifesavers, a high-impact community project in basic life support training. So, after that, we think again, not enough. I want, being a physiologist, being an anesthesiologist, we're into physiology, right? I said, if they can see, if we press the heart, darah keluar, and we allow recoil, the darah comes back to the heart. That's important. But how can I do this in a cheap manner so that the student in this school could use it? So my team did this with the help of course, biomedical engineering, Prof. Fatima and her team. I don't know whether you can, this is very crude. It's going to be, so when you press, you can see the blood comes out, right? Red light, blood comes out. When I release, just wait a few more minutes. I release, there should be a blue, there should be a blue light coming in, which means the recoil is there. What we miss during CPR is normally recoil. We don't let the heart to rest. So this is a simple version so that it's not very costly, but I'm hoping to get more grant to fine-tune this. But we patent this mechanism, and this has been patent filed under device mechanism with the team. And this was a privilege for me to be called by Prof. Raja Nazrin to share this research with him. So high-impact medical innovation does not only happen in tertiary hospital, it can begin in school, community halls, and public space, driven by a team determined to give people the knowledge and the confidence to save life. All right, guys, long, right? So you're almost there with me to the last space of my leading in my journey. 2019, I was appointed as the head of Department of Anesthesiology. What else happened? COVID-19. Oh my God. I was this new HOD taking over from Prof. Mazida, who was the longest HOD in anesthesia. And then I got COVID to work with. I lost easily 5-6 kilos just doing that, okay? I know. Okay, it's just so stressful. But I cannot run away. I've been given the task. So nak tak nak, when everybody's at home, dikunci tak boleh keluar rumah, all of us, the frontliners has to come to work, right? The road were empty. And at UMMC, my department, my colleagues, my friends were standing at the front line. Our skills become essential, but also place us in direct harm. Once we were obvious the anesthetists behind the mask, but this time we were the frontliners. And we had to ensure that everybody is safe to provide good management for our patient. So what I need to do was lead with clarity. Everyone was in fear, fatigue, and living in uncertainty. You know, it's as much as we got the news today from PBB what to do. Prof. Adiba brought in the information. Afternoon, we come up with policy. Every single day. It's like running on information that hot from the oven. So we had to make difficult decisions. Elective theatres were reduced, closed so that manpower could be redirected to intensive care and emergency work where the need was greatest. And to ensure that my staff was safe, we simulation-based training in PPE use, in patient movement, and in airway management, which turned the anxiety among my colleagues into preparedness, because all that aerosol generation is real. So we need to ensure that none of them will go back with COVID, right? Staff well-being is serious. We have to check whether they are okay on daily activities. We do a daily roll call symptom monitoring. I've got a team headed by Dr. Fitri with Jawan to just call and WhatsApp everyone. How are you? Are you okay? And we have this weekly color-coded WhatsApp emotional check-in just to ensure that they are not in the red, or we can at least detect when they're in the yellow so that they are in the green, they are okay when they go to work to save our patient. So guiding a team through COVID-19 then gave me the platform to bring this discussion beyond OTs. We were at the national conversation in television, print media, and lectures to create awareness. We launched our consensus on recommendation for MSA and College of Anesthesia and UMMC. And again, this experience allowed us to publish in a Q1 journal, Anesthesia and Analgesia, when we wrote on a developing nation's experience in using simulation-based training as preparation tool for the coronavirus disease 2019 outbreak. And I was very, very glad, alhamdulillah. The leader there was Prof. Adiba. You know, I could never ask for a better person to lead us during that calamity and uncertainty, backed by our then Prof. Nazira, who was the timbalan, but orang kanan for the task force of COVID-19. Thank you very much. COVID seems like never dawned on us, right? Hilang. But the effect was true. Well, now I want to share to you my experience in leading. Alhamdulillah, I've been blessed that I've been given the trust by my fraternity to lead them as president of Malaysian Society of Anesthesia from 2021 to 2023, followed by President College of Anesthesiology in 2023 to 2025. And then also at the simultaneous time, I lead the Malaysian Society of Pediatric Anesthesiologists. Being a leader gave me something that I think is a privilege. It gave me a chance to look forward to ensure sustainability for the world we inhabit, sustainability for the leaders that we want to lead in the future. Oh, before I go there, I want to tell you about, I was also elected internationally as the president-elect for ASEAN Society Pediatric Anesthesia from last year to 2027. Thank you. And I was also entrusted to become one of the executive committee for WFA's World Federation Society of Anesthesiologists Pediatric Anesthesia for 2026 to 2028. So I was saying about the sustainability that we have the ability to ensure sustainability. That's when I and my team launched the Green Anesthesia campaign. We know that operating theatres are highly energy-intensive environment. While we care for the patient, some of the medication and processes we use may also contribute to harm, environmental harm. So in 2023, we launched the Green Anesthesia campaign for MSA and College of Anesthesia, Academy of Medicine, Malaysia. And in 2025, we launched the COA MSA Consensus Statement on Green Anesthesia. So I feel I've done my part to tell my fellow colleagues in anesthesia that, look, we need to do something about this. Let's look at it. The world is not ours. We have to look after it. Then, as we were operating, I met my friend, Shireen, who was also championing in this particular topic, sustainability. And then we put our heads together, supported by our Dean, Prof. Yang. We launched the Green at UM Health Training Series, where we want all UMMP students, postgraduates, colleagues to actually be responsible about the green, about sustainability in our world. When I say sustainability, it also covers building leaders for the future. I believe leadership is not defined by the title on the paper. It is defined by what we build for those who carry the profession forward with courage, wisdom, and integrity. For that, I put a team together and we built we developed the emerging leaders meeting. It's like it's actually a workshop where we we teach our younger generation, our younger colleague on what it takes to be a leader. I had the privilege to work with Dr. Chris Bowden, who is one of the main champions from Australia and WFSA on this topic. And when we work in Malaysia, he then brought me as the representative of ASEAN to be the founding faculty of this global leadership in anesthesiology course. And we actually had our first module run during the recent WCA meeting in Morocco in April, which unfortunately I couldn't go because of the geopolitics. So there I am. They were listening to me online on a video. Beyond leadership, beyond the OR, I think we need to build this sustainable scholarship. Sometimes Malaysians have a lot to share, but we need to fight with the bigger publisher or authors outside. I learned it can be difficult. It can be very difficult. So I want to nurture this for all my fraternities in Malaysia, that, a great clinician cures the patient in front of them, but a scholarly clinician cures the systemic knowledge gaps of the generation after them. For that, with the support of MSA and College of Anesthesia, we developed our Malaysian Journal of Anesthesiology. These are my colleagues, the Deputy Chief Editor, Prof. Dr. Azrin Ahmad Ralib, Dr. Sharidan, Associate Prof. Dr. Chow Suk Hui, and the rest of the team as section editors. And I'm very happy to say now we are in our third year. We are going pretty strong. I hope, inshallah, moga-moga we'll get into Scopus soon. So, a little bit more, leadership in education, the turning point. I was humbled to contribute for the NPMC for anesthesiology and critical care postgraduate curriculum, but I realized I don't know much. I was invited because I was a HOD and a senior member, and I realized there's a lot of things in medical education that I was lacking. That pushed me beyond my comfort zone, and that's when I decided to do medical education as my third degree. So I had the full support of my family and my members of anesthesia department. They are very nice. They give me time off occasionally to go attend classes. And of course, I have these medical educationist buddies, which I feel guilty if I don't share because I cry to them when I cannot finish my assignment, which is Prof. Anand Sanmugam and Prof. Dr. Yang Farida Abdul Aziz, and Associate Professor Dr. Nur Jahan. Towards the end of this, my mom was hit by COVID, and eventually she passed away. But at the same time, it was my turn to submit my thesis. I did all the data collection, did all the writing, but I really need somebody to just buy and help me put it together. And I'm really thankful for Miss Yizan for doing that for me. Because I was really in my really bad point of my life. So, after medical education, where next? When Prof. Yang asked me, can you lead Merdu? I stunned because it's really out of my comfort zone. I've done anesthesia for 20 years, and to jump into Merdu, you must be kidding me. But you know, never say no, right? You never know what doors that lead you to. So it became a turning point for me. Thank you, Prof. Yang, for the trust, guidance, and encouragement along the way. This was my first plenary in the Asian Medical School Dean's Summit, and I'm very happy it was well received. Following that, I've been requested by the APMED, Asia Pacific Medical Education Network. They invited me to be the co-chair of Scholarship of Teaching and Learning of the Asia Pacific Medical Education Network. So that's a whole new task for me. Right. Trust is not just something a parent gives a doctor. It is something a supervisor must give a trainee. That question brought me to EPA. So what is EPA? Entrustable Professional Activities is a unit of professional practice that can be fully entrusted to a trainee once they have demonstrated the necessary competence to execute this activity unsupervised. It's basically changing from asking, has this trainee done enough cases, to, can this trainee be trusted unsupervised? Because that's what we want, right? We want, when we give them the license to practice, we can practically say they are safe. So basically, EPA is trust made measurable. So we actually begin with the end in mind. We then have to have what we can imagine our trainee should be, and that's where we come up with a framework of what I want them to be. It's a long story, it's still work in progress. Where is this going? I think this is the new thing in medical education and in assessment, and trustable professional activities framework. I hope to start in pediatric anesthesia. I'm learning beyond Malaysia because my colleague in Singapore has done it. And we have put our ideas together, and I've won the ASEAN Research Collaborative Fund to look into this as an ASEAN countries. And then if this works, I want to do it as an EPA across anesthesia training, and hopefully in the future, EPA for undergraduate into medical school, because NUS has already done this. They have forgo their long cases in final year, and they do EPA in their 5th year. So, I'm almost finishing here. Already okay? So my reflection as an anesthesiologist, a medical educationist, and a leader. Trust. At the beginning of this journey, I asked a simple but important question. When a parent hands over their ill and vulnerable child, what are they truly giving us? This is not abstract trust, but a deeply personal trust placed in our knowledge, judgment, and care. Throughout my career in anesthesia, medical education, and clinical leadership, trust has been at the heart of everything I do in medicine. It is not earned in a single moment, it is built gradually through, with competence, consistency, istiqamah, humility, and lifelong learning. So that's my journey that I can share with you till today. Alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah for His blessing, guidance, and mercy, and for granting me the opportunities that have shaped this intriguing life journey. I have to do this thank you to all the Vicom staff that ensures the smooth running of the event, especially to Encik Aizat for agreeing to many requests. All my department staff who today helped me so much. This work has been going on for the last few weeks. Encik Faiz, Puan Hidayah, Ms. Fung Yizian, all my RAs, trainees, my supervisor, Dr. Shamil, for the montage that you watched earlier, my ex-supervisor, Dr. Alex, who's going to entertain you later, all my Merdu staff, friends and colleagues who had volunteered for today, and to Prof. Dr. Rafida Atan for her support in today's event. Thank you so much. Next is a little bit of a long thank you to every patient and parent who entrusted me with themselves, their child. Your trust has been the quiet force behind every moment of vigilance in the operating theatre. To my trainees, I'm very touched. Some of them yang dah keluar come also today. Thank you for entrusting me to teach you and guide you. It has been one of the greatest honors of my life to help shape the hands that will continue to look after our patients in the future. To my mentors and benefactors, thank you for opening doors, believing in me, and showing me what dedication, precision, and leadership truly mean. You know, mentors, some of them I've mentioned, but there are also mentors that you found along the way in conversation of daily life. So I like to thank Prof. Datuk Tunku Sarah. She always give me the wise advice. Prof. Datuk Dr. Prapanagaran, when I'm operating with him, I look forward to the list because we will be changing ideas. To Prof. Dr. Tunku Kamarul, because he pushed me to do things that I thought I won't be able to do, or would not like to do rather. And this is to Dr. Susilo Bambang, who is the founder of Indo Anesthesia. It's a big family outside who has opened doors for me to be in the global arena. And also to Datuk Dr. Jahiza, who is the past president of MSA and College of Anesthesia. Her leadership skills and the way she negotiates matters amaze me all the time. To my anesthesia team, to all of them, there's so many of them, thank you for walking this journey with me. Thanks for supporting my endeavors through all this work. To Merdu team, I know I'm new with them, but they've been very, very joyful to work with. I look forward to continue this journey with them. Woo. To my dearest colleagues, contemporaries across the many societies I've had the privilege to serve. Some of them are, I think, listening online. Thank you for your trust, friendship, and support over the years. To my dearest friends at work and at home, I see Kishwar, my neighbors, you know, they grounded me. They are practically telling me their life outside hospital, and for reminding me to pause, breathe, and remain whole. To my arwah papa and mama, though you are no longer here to witness this milestone, your presence remains deeply woven into every step of my journey. The values you instill, the sacrifices you made, the love you gave continue to guide me along, to give me long after you have gone. To my siblings, Ida Juliana, Jun Haslinda, Sharul Imran, and the Shariffuddin clan, thank you for being a constant source of love and strength. May we continue to celebrate one another's successes and remain united in love and gratitude. And to my beloved husband, Architect Hanas Ismadi bin Muhammad Nazri. And my wonderful children, Dr. Duratul Hana, Dia Irdina, Dina Alisha, and Umar Naufal. Thank you for being my anchor and my greatest source of joy. Thank you for never asking me to choose between this demanding calling and our home, and for understanding my often chaotic routine. Jazakallah khairan. Lastly, I've done my best to entrust. What happens next, I leave it to Allah. Ala bi dhikrillah tatma'inul qulub. I believe truly in the remembrance of God, do hearts find rest. With that, I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Ina, for your impressive and inspiring lecture. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to invite Yang Berusaha, Professor Dr. Zamri Radzi, back to the podium to summarize and conclude today's inaugural lecture.
Thank you. Thank you. Prof. Ina has spoken. The presidents of all presidents have spoken. Respected teacher and trainer, and obvious from her inaugural lecture, an entertainer too. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the University of Malaya and Faculty of Medicine, we would like to extend our deepest appreciation to Professor Ina for a truly inspiring and thought-provoking inaugural lecture. Through her lecture, Trust at Heart of Care, a journey through anesthesia, medical education, and leadership, Prof. Ina has shared a remarkable journey shaped by dedication to patient care, excellence in education, and steadfast leadership. Her reflections remind us that the trust lies at the very heart of healthcare, earned through competence, compassion, humility, and accountability. Whether in caring for children under anesthesia, mentoring future generations of healthcare professionals, or leading transformative initiative, her work exemplifies the profound impact that trust has on both individuals and institutions. The lecture also served as a powerful reminder that academic medicine is not only about advancing knowledge and innovation, but also about building resilient healthcare systems, empowering future leaders, and improving the quality of care for our communities. Datuk Yang, Prof. Yazid, and Prof. Ina, this is something that we'd like to report to you about your student, your medical student, during the orientation week. It was last year, the year without the concert and without the music festival. It was a group work. So we asked the medical student, what's next after MBBS? And he said, NS, BUS. So we asked him to draw. So he drew with the clinical gown. At the background, very big shining moon, symbolizing day or night, doesn't matter, in operation theater, writing a bill with the name of his friend, a lady. Billing, put into sleep, free. Waking her up, 5,000 ringgit. Prof. Ina, ladies and gentlemen, to all Prof. Ina's mentors, teachers, lecturers, professors, benih yang ditumbuhkan ini telah pun menjadi pohon. Yang pohon itu telah pun menjadi buah dan telah pun menjadi bunga. Yang buah itu sedap rasanya. Yang bunga itu harum baunya. Pakar kepada segala pakar ini adalah sarjana yang saujana dan sujana. Saujana mata memandang dan sujana bijaksana. We are very proud of you, Prof. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us once again give a big round of applause to our respected academician, researcher, trainer, leader, and administrator. University Malaya, the Senate of University, thank you, Prof, for your dedication, and we thank you again and again. Thank you, everyone, and thank you all.
On behalf of everyone here, our heartfelt thank you, Yang Berusaha Professor Dr. Zamri Radzi, for chairing this remarkable inaugural lecture today. And thank you, Yang Berusaha Professor Dr. Ina Ismiarti Shariffuddin, for your inspiring lecture. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's inaugural lecture. Thank you for joining us and for sharing this significant milestone with Prof. Ina. To commemorate this special occasion, may I invite Yang Berusaha Professor Dr. Zamri Radzi and Yang Berusaha Professor Dr. Ina Ismiarti Shariffuddin to join us for a group photograph. And for those who have always wondered who the people behind the masks in theatres are, this is your opportunity to see us smile.
Everyone stand and gather toward the table.
All I have to give is here for you. Every single dream I'm holding true. All I have to give is all I know. Watching all the love begin to grow. I don't need a reason to believe you are.